More than $4 billion. Around 3.5 million people across roughly 175 countries. That, investigators say, is what went into a cryptocurrency called OneCoin. There was just one problem. The coin wasn't real. There was no blockchain behind it, only a company database and a price that company set by hand. This is the story of how a currency that never existed took billions from the world, who built it, and the people whose job was to stop it and didn't. OneCoin began in 2014 in Sofia, Bulgaria. Its public face was Ruja Ignatova, a woman with a doctorate in law, and a line on her resume from one of the most respected consulting firms in the world. She didn't look like a con artist. She looked like the future. In 2016, she walked onto the stage at Wembley Arena in London in front of thousands of cheering people and promised that OneCoin would be bigger than Bitcoin. The Bitcoin killer, she called it. And people believed her because of how it all looked. There was a glossy magazine cover with her face on it. There were sold-out events, a polished global sales network, and neighbors and friends and family members who were already in, already telling you that you were getting in early. OneCoin didn't feel like a scheme on the internet. It felt like a movement. And here's the detail that mattered most, though almost no one saw it at the time. OneCoin didn't sell you a coin. It sold you an education, a package of courses about cryptocurrency, with the coins thrown in, supposedly for free. Hold on to that. We'll come back to it. Here's how it actually worked. When you bought a OneCoin package, you did not get a stake in any real currency. You got tokens to mine coins that existed only inside OneCoin's own computers. There was no public blockchain. The thing that lets anyone, anywhere verify that a cryptocurrency is what it claims to be. OneCoins were simply entries in a database the company controlled completely. Bimbo. And the price, the number that made everyone feel rich. It was not set by any market. It was set by OneCoin. It only ever went up because they made it go up. The engine underneath was recruitment. You earn money not from any product, but from pulling other people in and getting them to pull in others. New money paid the older members. That is the oldest fraud there is, dressed up in new technology. Then there was the catch that would eventually give the whole thing away. The only place you could turn OneCoins back into real money was an exchange the company itself ran. Investigators say the cash outs were capped, slowed, buried in paperwork, and then, in early 2017, that exchange was simply shut down. On paper, members were millionaires. In reality, most of them could never get a single dollar out. And the money that did come in, prosecutors say it was moved offshore, hundreds of millions of dollars run through fake investment funds and a chain of foreign bank accounts, with false stories told to bank after bank to keep the cash moving. By 2016, regulators in several countries had started to notice. Belgium issued a warning. Germany's financial watchdog opened an investigation and shut down a OneCoin payment operation there. And in Britain, the Financial Conduct Authority posted a public warning too. But the people who actually dragged the truth into the light in those years were not the regulators. They were journalists, most famously, a BBC team whose investigation became the podcast, The Missing Cryptoqueen. They were the ones piecing it together, while the official warning stalled or quietly went away. Then the United States Department of Justice moved. In October 2017, a federal grand jury in New York indicted Ruja Ignatova. Days later, she vanished. Prosecutors say she boarded a flight from Sofia to Athens, and from there, she was gone. She has not been seen since. One by one, the people around her fell. Her co-founder, Carl Sebastian Greenwood, was arrested and later pleaded guilty. In 2023, he was sentenced to 20 years in prison and ordered to forfeit $300 million. The lawyer who moved the money, Mark Scott, was convicted at trial and sentenced to 10 years. Ignatova's own brother, who took over the company after she disappeared, pleaded guilty and became a witness for the prosecution. OneCoin's head of legal and compliance was extradited and sentenced to 4 years. But the person at the center of it all was never caught. Ruja Ignatova has been charged, not convicted. Today she sits on the FBI's 10 most wanted list, with a reward of up to $5 million for information leading to her arrest. More than 8 years later, she is still out there. So how does a fake currency take more than $4 billion from millions of people in plain sight for years? It does not happen in the dark. It happens because the people whose job was to looked away. OneCoin didn't slip past Britain's regulator. The regulator was told. It posted a warning, and then it took that warning down. The day that warning disappeared, a fraud got the one thing it could never earn for itself: the look of approval. This is the part of every story that matters most, because the next OneCoin is being sold to someone right now. So here are the warning signs that were there the whole time. 1. The price only ever went up, and the company said it, not any open market. Real assets do not work that way. 2. There was no public, verifiable record. You were asked simply to trust them. With real cryptocurrency, you never have to. 3. You were sold education and the coins came free. That was not generosity. It was a way to slip around the rules that protect investors. 4. The returns came from recruiting other people, not from any product. When the money depends on the next person joining, you are looking at a pyramid. 5. You could put money in instantly, but taking it out was capped, delayed, under maintenance, and finally impossible. Easy in, hard out is the signature of a trap. And 6. When that warning about OneCoin disappeared, people treated it as an all clear. It never is. Here's where it stands today. The United States Justice Department has opened a process to return money to OneCoin's victims, more than $40 million in recovered assets. But weigh that against what was taken, more than $4 billion. The recovered pool is about 1%. Billions are simply gone. The people who ran the scheme are in prison. The woman accused of building it is still a fugitive. And most victims are getting back about a penny on the dollar. If you bought OneCoin between 2014 and 2019, there is a deadline you need to know. You have until June 30th, 2026 to file a claim. The official site is www.onecoinremission.com, and that link is in the description below. It is free, and you do not need a lawyer. Be sure. One warning: anyone who asks you to pay a fee to process your claim is running the next scam. You've been watching Anatomy of a Scam, Someone Always Knew.